The world wouldn't end in explosions or war, but in silence. A silence created by fear, confusion, and a virus that changed everything. This is the true chronicle of the zombie apocalypse, how it began, how it spread, and how humanity collapsed. Welcome to Unwanted Archives channel. Today's topic is, what would happen if a zombie outbreak became real? We are going to emerge in many spheres on many levels while we talk about zombie apocalypse. We will explore how humanity might survive apocalyptic scenario and what science says about it. This is just one of the terms and situations which humanity might experience in the future. How things are progressing over time, humanity has many perils that might affect us: alien invasion, global mass control of population, religion madness, super volcanoes eruption, meteor strike, rise of artificial intelligence, etc. But let's dive in. What would really happen if a zombie outbreak became real? Pop culture already introduced zombies as a mainstream phenomenon through movies, music, video games, etc. But we can also find similarities throughout history. Governments used to erase populations, entire villages or cities with an excuse of unknown dangers or dangerous illnesses that could affect mankind. Well, maybe that's all true, and maybe there is something really sinister and unexplained behind it, but sometimes it's just a cover-up. In numerous religions throughout history, we have zombie descriptions such as in voodoo, Christianity, or in many others, where we have this thing described in a way how people could comprehend it at the given time. Most of the time, this possession was mainly characterized as a demonic possession. And in fact, a term zombie describes a type of a possession of some kind where person is no longer in control of its own body and mind, and it's driven by something else. We can define this instinct-like behavior such as where virus or other life form is just trying to survive. For an example, a rabies virus where a person who's got rabies is just acting what basically this virus tells them to do. They're afraid of water and they're aggressive because the virus don't like water and it wants to spread. So the body that is in control is acting accordingly. Next to viruses, we also have type of parasites or mushrooms, spores, that can zombify a living being and so on. Throughout nature and history, we have a lot of examples where an animal body or human body is zombified by another life form. So, neurotropic viruses, prion diseases, parasites, anomalies, mutations, you name it. There are a bunch of things that can turn us all into zombies. Scary enough, well, it gets worse. Zombie fiction amplifies these effects to terrifying extremes: rapid infection, aggression, and mass societal collapse. While imagining, it gives us a useful lens to examine vulnerabilities in our societies. If a real-world pathogen were highly contagious and altered behavior, governments and infrastructure could be overwhelmed quickly. Hospitals, supply chains, and communication networks could fail before containment. Medical staff would try to figure out what to do with the virus, but it would already be too late. Last pandemic of coronavirus showed us that we are not ready for another one, especially if it is more contagious or more deadly. In that case, we have a serious problem. By nature, human beings are rebellious and always want to go in the other way of what government tells them to do. So following rules in the times of great stress is not actually going to work as we want it to. In fact, we don't stand a chance if that kind of virus shows up. Who knows what kind of primordial viruses are hidden beneath permafrost, and as global warming is melting the ice, we can only imagine what can affect us. Maybe something will escape some laboratory where scientists work on something, or maybe there will happen a mutation in the nature on some life form, and eventually will affect us. Who knows, in fact, what kind of dangers are hidden and waiting to destroy us? It can all start with patient zero, with a single unexplained attack. A patient with no pulse, no response to pain, and impossible strength. Doctors dismissed it. Governments ignored it. But within days, the infection could spread beyond control, and before we even grasp what is going on, the collapse begins. As cities will fall, panic would spread faster than the virus. Power grids would shut down and highways would jam. Food will vanish and communication networks would die. In 72 hours, society unravels and global infection starts. All nations would seal borders. Military forces would collapse. The dead would outnumber the living. No one would understood how the infection started and what to do next. Together with infected, all survivors should beware of other humans who would just wait for chaos and disorder to do bad things to others. So zombies would be just one part of the whole problem. As humanity would slowly turn into mindless zombies, over time there would happen different kinds of disasters, whether if it's man-made or natural. When we talk about man-made disasters, we could mention all types of nuclear plants and factories that needs human maintenance. If not maintained, nuclear reactors would melt down and radiation would spread all over. As nuclear plants would collapse, so would all electrical grids, as well as running water. In fact, everything that needs maintenance would break down and collapse in a couple of months. After those kind of disasters, the nature would strike. Since there would be no more man-made pollution, the nature would start to change as well. Maybe for better, maybe for worse, but it would change for sure. So, can humanity survive in all those situations? Well, in general, I think it can, but it will be hard, and we will need to start almost from the beginning. Individuals would need to focus on 3 essentials: stockpiling food and water, securing a defensible shelter, and forming cooperative groups. Society may fracture, but small communities would have a better chance of surviving. First, what we need to think about is preparation for disasters. We need to stay far away from all those affected areas or move away as far as possible. Then, we need to have some skills that will help us survive. Assure fresh water, shelter, food, etc. If we would be alone, it would be harder, but we should cooperate with one another and use unity as our strength. People would need to organize again in small communities and share skills and knowledge to survive. Having an early warning systems and containment protocols would help a lot, as well as following protocols in those kind of situations. Only scattered pockets of humanity would endure. They would adapt, learn to use silence, form small communities, and rebuild trust. Survival would become an art. Move quietly, avoid cities, stay alert. From abandoned towns to fortified villages, survivors would begin to reclaim pockets of land. Radio signals would return and scientists would search for answers. Hope flickers in the ruins. Over time, the infected would also change. Some would move slower in the cold. Some would react to sound from miles away. Others will show signs of mutation. No one knows whether evolution would help or doom humanity. Zombie scenarios teach disaster preparedness, ethical dilemmas, and the importance of leadership and trust. Even if the undead never rise, these lessons help in real-world emergencies. Advanced technology could prevent a small outbreak from becoming catastrophic. Rapid pathogen detection, AI-driven containment strategies, and biosecurity labs. Human intervention is the key to survival. There are a lot of survival manuals that can be downloaded and printed out. So, when electricity shuts down, paper would be the only thing to store information. Talking about old school, huh? In the end, with civilization shattered, humanity didn't disappear, it transformed. The dead may still roam, but the living continue to rise. The story isn't over yet. It's only beginning. Zombies may be fiction or not, but the lessons are real. How prepared do you think humanity is? Comment below, subscribe, and join us as we explore survival, science, and the unknown.